العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
So the illah of gharar, if it is there, if there is gharar, ambiguity, uncertainty, it is not permissible for you to sell. Like in the example was where the cash and carry, the owner of the cash and carry, he says there's two, or there's a bunch, there's 20 boxes or 20 boxes of 10 kg basmati rice. And he says, I'm going to sell you one of those or 3 of those. And there's 20 there. Is that permissible? Yes. Why? There's no gharar. The illah is not there. Like, all of these examples are pretty much the same. All of these examples that the Shaykh rahimahullah, he mentions. Now that qa'idah, write it down, it'll help you with a lot of things. It will help you with a lot of things. Mathalan, a lot of times you hear the question, if a sister wants to go to Birmingham, does she have to have a mahram? Another question, if a sister wants to go to West London, does she need a mahram? If a sister wants to live abroad, does she need a mahram? طيب. All of these answers, the question to all of these answers are what? Depending on the illah. And the illah is traveling. If she's traveling, she needs a mahram. If she's not traveling, she doesn't need a mahram. Nothing to do with the distance, nothing to do with the difficulty of traveling, and so on. Right, so the Shaykh says, بِعْتُكْ إِحْدَى السِّلْعَتَيْنِ. So it's not permissible to say that. I'm going to sell you one of these 2 items. There are 2 different items in totality. أو بمقدار ما تبلغ الحصاة من الأرض. Or as far as this pebble reaches. That was a transaction. They used to do this in the past, where they would say, as far as this stone, this pebble reaches, you can take whatever, the distance. So I will send this land to you. I'm going to sell this land to you, however acres of land, like as far as my stone throw reaches. Is that permissible? Why? There's gharar in there, there's illah, so it's not permissible. Also, if someone says, whatever item this stone falls upon, I'm going to sell it to you, or I'm going to buy it. Is that permissible? No. Why? It can fall on a thobe, it can fall on a book, or it can fall on a mobile phone, sah? You don't know what you're selling, and you don't know what you're buying. Therefore, that's why it is impermissible. وَنَحْوِهِ, and like it. Then there's also mulamasa and munabada. Mulamasa, for example, is sell me your car. And then I put a large amount of money in my hand, and I say whatever, and I put it under my thobe, on the garment, and then you take however much I have in my hand. That is not permissible. Why? You don't know. There's gharar, there's jahala and gharar. You don't know. Gambling is impermissible. Why? Because of gharar. Gambling is aklu nas, amwal nas bil batil. You're eating the people of the wealth of the people with no right. طيب. ونحوه أو ما تحمل أمته أو شجرته. طيب. And the same thing goes for selling. مثلا someone says, my slave girl is pregnant. Whatever she gives birth to, I'm going to sell it to you. Now what she gives birth to, maybe it will be a slave if it is born. Like, what is the illah here? You don't know. It may be born, it may not be born. She may have twins, she may have one baby, she may have triplets. Like, what is the wisdom? Why does the Sharia restrict this sort of movement? So for example, if 2 people have a transaction and say, listen, whatever your slave girl gives birth to, I'm gonna buy it. طيب حلو. Gives him £5,000. And they're both expecting only one child. Then triplets come, she gives birth to triplets. What's going to happen? What's going to happen is the one that bought that already paid is going to say, all 3 are mine. You sold whatever was in that belly, whatever was in that womb. The other one's going to say, la, I sold you 1. Technically, they're both right. You sold him 1, that's the norm. And this other one's right because he paid for whatever was in that womb, regardless of what it is. Could be a car. He paid for whatever is in that womb. And what's going to happen then? Arguments and problems are going to occur. And then disputes and arguments and rows are going to appear. And they can end up what? Killing one another. طيب أو شجرته, or the fruit that that tree will bear. I'm going to sell you the fruit that that tree will bear. أو ما في بطن الحامل, or whatever my she camel is carrying, for example. Whatever my she camel is carrying, I'm going to sell this to you. طيب وسواء كان الغرر في الثمن أو المثمن. Regardless of whether the ambiguity is with regards to the price, how much you're paying, or the muthmin, the actual product. So when I was showing you the examples of the books, the gharar was in what? The ambiguity was in what? In the product, in the sin'ah, the book. The example what I said to you, that I said if you're going to sell a car and you say whatever is in my hand, that is in the what? In the thaman, the money that you're paying, the amount of money. So whether the uncertainty is in the money or whether it is in the whether it's in the money or whether it's in the product that you're buying. If there was another mas'ala. So there are three conditions for the things that you're selling. Firstly, that the mabi', the thing that you're selling, you're able to actually give it to the person and that person is able to get it from you, the item. In order to avoid gharar, the item has to be present or you're able to go and get it. For example, it's in your house or it's upstairs. ويكون ثمن معلوما, and the thaman, the price has to be ma'loom. And the muthman, the product has to also be clear. So you can't go to a shop and say, listen, I want to buy this mobile phone, and the person can't say, sell it to me. And he says, no, I'll sell it to you, and I'll look after you. Don't worry, I'll look after you. We hear that a lot. I'll look after you. That looking after can mean anything. Yeah, it can be expensive, it can be cheap. So you have to know exactly how much. Lakin, at times, you may not know the product. You may not know the price, but you're still expecting the person to fix it. For example, you take your car to a garage and it has a illah, it has a problem, it's not working. The car is not working. You take it to the garage and you say to him, fix it for me. That is what? There's a bit of certainty in it. Lakin, there's a darura in that. Because this person that's fixing the car for you, he genuinely doesn't know what's wrong with your car. So he can't give you a price up front. He can't say to you, the engine belt is gone, for example, so it's going to cost you £600. It may not be the engine, it may be the fan. It may be something that is just worth £50 to fix, or it could be £1,000. So often he'll give you the price after fixing the item. That sort of project, that sort of item, it's okay, or that sort of transaction is okay, because that has become the norm amongst the Muslims. That has become the norm amongst the Muslims, and that's the only way that it can be done. لا haggling is different. Haggling, you say, yeah, give it to me for 10 riyal. So for example, you go into a shop and it's £10. You say, give me discount. You're haggling, that's fine. But after the haggling, you agree on a what? On a price. After the haggling, you'll agree on a price. طيب we're going to have to stop there now anyway, because one sec, Ujja is coming. We're going to have to stop there because Salah is in a minute. No, Salah is in a minute. 2 or 3 questions. Would you say, Abdullah?
You go into the job, not knowing when you're going to be paid after the job's done.
It depends if it is the norm or the urf is that person gets paid after, then that's fine. If the urf is that. And we'll see it in Ijar anyway, because Ijar is when you're, Ijar al-Manafi, for example, you say build this certain item for me or this wall for me and I'll give you however much. So that depends. This person may pay you depending on the hours that you're working or the actual amal, the actual action. And we see that in Ijar, inshallah. Okay. Say that again?
So you know the example that were given by
Oh.
Have to
Like some of them were jahala.
yeah, because you know that one for instance do the books. Wouldn't that be jahala?
That's jahala, yeah.
Alright.
But the Sheikh considered it as what? One condition. But that is jahala. So for example, when I'm going like that, whatever is in my hand, I know I've got control of what is in my hand. And I know I'm able to give it to you. There's no ambiguity surrounding it because I know. But there's jahala in it because I don't know how much it is. وَجُهِلَتْ صِفَتُهُ. Its attribute, its trait, its characteristic is that you're ignorant of it. You don't know how much is in there.
What method with the books? I see both of the books. I know exactly what books you're referring to. I just don't know which one you're going to give to me. So in this case, the food is ma'lum.
La, la, yeah, but with the books that are the same, it's permissible to sell. But if they're two different books, there's gharar in there in the sense the price. If you don't know the price at the beginning, if you don't know the price, طيب. There's jahala in there, sorry, because you may not know the price. There's jahala in there because gharar is what? You don't know whether you're going to get it or not. You don't know whether you're going to be. But with jahala, you know what you're going to get, but you're ignorant of the attribute. You're ignorant of the price.
But the illah there will be jahala, no?
Jahala, na'am. The illah there will be jahala. You don't know how much it is. So this kitab could be £30, it could be £20. What if a person says, I will sell you two of the same books that are often, but one of them, yani two books, but one of them is very old in a bad condition and the other one is new. No, that's fine. If two, as long as the two people agree on it, I can sell you an old car for a new car. I can sell you an old car for a new car. طيب. And there may not be any transaction, no money. But you can't do that with al-ashya' al-ribawiyya. Like you can't do that with gold, silver, burr, wheat and so on, dates, as we shall see in the next lesson, inshallah. Is it permissible to partake in a blind auction? I don't know what blind auction is.
Storage hunters.
Hmm?
They sell a storage
They'll sell a unit.
Nah, there's gharar in there. You can be buying diamonds. You could be buying shoes. You just don't know what you're buying. Auctions are permissible in general, but you have to know what you're buying. Like, so what? Like, they've got a cold container. You don't know what's in there. So what's the point of that?
It'd be like a dead person's container. You just sell it.
But the way they see it, they could hit like you could make a big win or a big loss.
Big win, big loss, gharar, haram. صح. Yeah, that's gambling. Yeah, you're gambling. You can pay a lot of money for nothing. If you do heads and tails to decide whether a person can get something, i.e. if that's permissible, like in the second part, heads and tails, that's like qura'. We studied that in qura' al-fiqhiyya, strings, or lots. But they're not selling it. Is that permissible? I don't know. I don't understand the second part, but they're not selling it. Is that permissible? I don't know. Shares. Buying shares of companies, sheds. So you buy a shed that's been abandoned for years. What's in there?
But you don't know.
Huh?
You don't know.
You don't know.
You buy the shed, but then you find these items in it. Is that what you mean? Yeah. But then you find something in it.
Oh, no, that's-
You buy the land and you find something in it.
La, that's fine. We're going to see that if you buy something, you pay for it, and there just so happens to be other items in there. It's like you buy a house, and the person that moved out just left a lot of items there. That's just part of the furniture. It seems like he left it alone. طيب. Go on. Last question, because we want to pray and want to carry on with the lesson. Started late. Go on. Car auctions. Say that again. If the car auctions. salvage cars. That's fine, as long as the person that's, for example, if you go to an auction in which they sell salvage cars, then you know what you're buying. You know you're buying a damaged car. You know you're buying a damaged car, but the person obviously has to tell you what sort of damage it was in the first place. The engine might not even be working, it might not leave the garage. That sort of gharar can be forgiven, because you know that at the end of the day, at least that's up to a certain standard where the engine will start, it will move. And more often than not, the price that you pay will give you a rough estimate of the damage that was caused. طيب والله تعالى أعلم وأحكم بالله توفيق.